lovely people, Nina here. So last week I went to a few independent bookstores and I have a little collection of books that I got, and so I figured I'd give you a little bit of like a book haul. Yeah, I at the beginning of the year made a whole thing about how I was going to consume less books unless they were from like independent bookstores, and I've stuck to that. So these are all from like local bookstores. I'm still trying to use the library more when they have like books in stock that I want to read. This one, I have two that are like Swedish. Tove Jansson is Finnish Swedish, so it counts. And then I have Fredrik Backman, who's Swedish. But the first one is a collection of like short stories, and it just says many of these stories are collected here are pure Jansson, touching on the island solitude and the dangerous pull of artistic impulse in the squirrel. The equanimity of the only inhabitant of a remote island is thrown by a visitor in the summer child. An unlovable boy is marooned along with his lively host family in the cartoonist and artist takes over a comic strip that has run for decades, and in The Doll's House, a man's hobby threatens to overwhelm his life. And then it just goes on and on, talks about like a few of the other short stories in here. But yeah, it's just a bunch of short stories. I have her summer book, which is on my June TBR list, and I'm hoping to get around to that. And I feel like this is going to be a good like to pair with it. Yeah, it's called The Woman Who Borrowed Memories. I don't know if I said that, but that's also one of the stories in here. Yeah, I'm excited. I love her writing, and so there's that. And then again, another Swedish author, Fredrik Backman. This is about hockey and a small town, and I'm excited because if you didn't know, I'm obsessed with hockey and I love it. It's my favorite sport, and so I'm a huge hockey person, so this sounded really great and I'm excited. He wrote a man called Ove, if you know. And I read one or two of his short stories and I love his writing, so I'm excited. This says, a tiny community deep in the forest of Beartown hasn't been the best anything in a long time, but down by the lake stands an old ice rink, and into the ice rink Kevin, Amat, Benji, and the rest of the town's junior ice hockey team are about to compete for the national semifinals, and they actually have a shot at winning. All of their hopes and dreams of this place now rest on the shoulders of a handful of teenage boys. Under that heavy burden, the semifinal match becomes the catalyst for a violent act that will leave a young girl traumatized and a town in turmoil. This story is about a town game, but even more about loyalty, commitment, and the responsibilities of friendship. And then it kind of goes on from there, but that's this one. Again, I feel like it sounds a little bit dark. All of the books that I have kind of sound dark, but this sounded really good to me and I'm excited. And I guess there's like multiple, I don't know if it's like a series or if they're standalones, but I think it's a series. Anyways, I love Fredrik Backman's writing, so there's that one. And then the next one I'll do Emperor of Gladness. Okay, the next I have is Ocean Wong's The Emperor of Gladness, and it's a signed copy, which is pretty cool. And it says, one late summer evening in the post-industrial town of East Gladness, Connecticut, 19-year-old Hay stands on the edge of a bridge in pelting rain ready to jump when he hears someone shout across the river. The voice belongs to Grazina, an elderly widow succumbing to dementia, who convinces him to take another path. Bereft and out of options, he quickly becomes her caretaker. Over the course of the year, the unlikely pair develop a life-altering bond, one built on empathy, spiritual reckoning, and heartbreak, with the power to transform Hayes' relationship to himself, his family, and community on the brink. And then it kind of goes on again from there. But this sounds really good and very, very sad. I love Ocean's writing. I read On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous and Time is a Mother and a bunch of his other poetry. and I loved it. It's all made me cry, but it's so beautiful and well written, and I just know this is going to be amazing. So there's that one. And then The Network Effect is the last one I have, which is in the Murderbot series. And I haven't gone back to look, but I think I might have messed up. Murderbot goes by it pronouns, and I think because in the show, one of the Skarsgårds, I don't remember which, plays the character, the robot, the Murderbot. And I think I said he because I just didn't even process in my head. But it goes by it pronouns, so Murderbot goes by it pronouns. And so if I said he, I apologize. Murderbot goes by it because Murderbot's a robot, not a human being. And so this is the 5th one, I believe, 5 or 6, in the series. I'm on the 4th right now, and I'm listening to them in with like immersive audio, which is really cool. And this one I don't want to give you the description of because it's the 5th in the series, and if you haven't read it, then it's going to spoil it. So I read the back and I was like, oh, can't say what that's about. So this is the 5th one. So yeah, these are all of the books that I am that I got last weekend, and I am very excited about this. And let me know if you read any of these down below, and if you have like wanted to read any of them maybe. And yeah, so there's these. This weekend, tomorrow, when you're watching this, if I get it up on time, there's a protest, and I encourage you to go for everything that's happening in LA, for everything that's happening in Palestine, and just everything that's happening with the US right now. I think it's really important that we use our voices. So tomorrow is the No Kings protest on Saturday. June 13th, I believe, is tomorrow. So yeah, it's this Saturday. I encourage you all to go. And right now in Palestine, they've cut off the internet and like cell service and everything for all the Palestinians. And so it's basically a genocide blackout, and it's atrocious and awful. But we can provide eSIMs for them, so they can still access their cell phones, and there's information on that. I'll put that down below, so we can help as best we can. I think it's so important that we keep talking about this and just talking about everything that's happening. And yeah, they blocked the boat and sent everyone basically home and kidnapped them initially, and then are now sending them home, that was trying to bring aid to Palestine. And now they are trying to march to the border. Thousands of different people and activists are trying to march to the border. Again, they're trying to stop it, but I will put information on that down below, because we need to keep talking about this, because the media isn't covering it, and it can't go unnoticed. They need our voices. So I'll leave all that down below. Yeah, I hope that you join a protest on Saturday. So yeah, I hope you all have a lovely weekend, and I will see you next Friday with a brand new video.